Welcome back to Modern Warfare Warzone. This isn't just going to be a gameplay. I'm actually doing like a tips and tricks guide to help those of you that aren't understanding it properly, those of you that aren't very experienced. And I'm not the best in the world for this sort of stuff, but I do have like 5 or 6 wins. So this is my Warzone for Dummies. To start things off, before we even jump into the gameplay, you can play either solos or quads at the moment. Threes were in there and duos were supposed to come with Season 3, but I'm not sure, not 100% sure about anything, as the playlists update so often, but you can squad fill just in case there are less players than required. If you want to do that, obviously you can go into 4-man squad games as a solo player and try and just absolutely wreck the lobby. This game is completely free to play and it's standalone from Modern Warfare, so you don't even need to own that to play it. And before you do anything at all, make sure you create 2 custom loadouts. One for the weapons you are comfortable with and one with Ghost and Cold Blooded. I will explain that further a little bit later in the video. So starting off with the actual game and the gameplay, you ready up, you jump into a pre-match lobby and it gives you different loadouts, random loadouts. And you're just going to have a little warm up in there, but XP is still awarded for getting kills for both player levels and weapon, so do not AFK this lobby. Use that time to try and rack up a couple of kills, and you can level up some guns that you wouldn't otherwise use. Then you are put into the plane that flies across the map in random sort of flight paths each game, and you have to select an area to drop. Try coordinating with your team because randoms do their own thing and then they'll go sending you abusive messages complaining that you didn't follow them when they dropped solo and got rushed by a try-hard team of scrubs. If you are wanting to ping areas, if you're using controller, it's up on the D-pad. It's very, very important to the game. There are contracts in this Battle Royale to help players build their cash balance to buy some goodies at a buy station. And a lot of players will drop at a contract for a head start, so be careful when you are picking a place to land. The scavenger contract is probably the most popular. Although there are 3 different types of contracts in the game. You have a scavenger which will locate 3 random crates separately that you will need to go and find. And all contracts will have a time limit, so don't take too long when you've started them. You then have a recon contract which will place a random recon crate on the map, not too far away, normally within 200 meters, that you need to go and secure. Once you have secured it, you'll be notified of the next area the circle will be, so that you can get ahead of the competition. And then finally there is a bounty contract which will locate a player or a team nearby that you can go and take out for extra cash. Moving on to talking about the cash in the game, you can find this on downed players. You can find it randomly on the map, you can find it inside crates, and you can earn it by completing contracts so that you can use it at a buy station. At the buy station, you have the ability to spawn allies back into the fight if you're playing not by yourself, like if you're playing in duos, if that ever comes in, 3s or quads. You can buy kill streaks like a UAV, a precision airstrike or a cluster strike, but you can also buy things to help increase your chances of survival like extra armor plates, a munitions box for more ammo and a loadout drop. A little known secret about the UAV, if your whole team uses one at the same time, it turns into an orbital VSAT, which pinpoints enemies' locations and even the way they are facing instead of just scanning and locating enemies' last known locations. I'm not entirely sure if an orbital VSAT is a thing in solos, and if it is, I'm not sure how that works, but for group play, everyone on your team needs to use one. Now this is where the loadout drops come into it. At a steep price of $10,000 per drop, started off at 6,000, went up to 8.5, but now because of quads is up to 10 grand. That's even on solos, and that is also the price per drop. These loadout drops can, however, be the difference between a loss and a win. The reason I mentioned to make a custom loadout is for these drops. I run the XRK M4 with a couple of attachment switches from the original blueprint, and I run the Axe 50 sniper with a thermal scope, and you can imagine how annoying it is to think you're safe then get one tapped because an enemy is running a thermal scope. And that's why you also make a random loadout with Cold Blooded and Ghost equipped, because it will remove the bold white glow from a thermal scope when someone is aiming at you. Although players will still be able to see you, it doesn't make you completely invisible. Not only that, that's with Cold Blooded. With Ghost, it's going to keep you off the radar from UAVs. And also heartbeat sensors. And to make things easier with your classes, you can just copy pasta your class and change the perks on it, because if you love the heartbeat sensor, like 95% of players have been using, And you set up your ghost class with a stun grenade. It will give you the stun and drop your heartbeat sensor, so make sure your tactical, lethals and everything are the same as what you want to use. The Gulag, it's a pit, like a shower pit that players are thrown into when they first die. You are given a random weapon, normally a shotgun or a pistol, and you need to kill your opponent or jump on the capture flag when that becomes available. And this is your only second chance. You get one shot of the Gulag, and there are simple rules in here. You kill, and you get a second chance on the map, or you be killed, or get killed, and you sit there spectating your mates until they gather 4.5 grand to get you back into the game. I probably should have put this earlier in the video, but armor plates are literally your best friend. They're like diamonds to a woman. They are cheap from a buy station, costing only $1,500 for 5 plates, but they can also be found like other loot randomly on the map on downed players and in crates. You have your standard health and you get 3 armor slots, so make sure you keep on top of your plates because the TTK or the time to kill is pretty low, so you will be shredded if you are low on armor. And not just that, if you are headshot with an Axe 50, even if you have 3 bars of armor, it's a one-shot kill, so make sure you are careful. And the rest of it is high blood pressure and stress, especially if you are in the final circle. Another tip before we get into the strategy side of things and how I play the game, watch out for vehicles. They are stupid in this battle royale and a lot of players abuse them. I was actually in a solos game and I was spectating because I got killed like 17th or 18th or something. I watched and the final 3 players were all driving around in the big ass trucks. And 2 of them stupidly, for whatever reason, jumped out. They got themselves run over. But it was literally a vehicle royale for the final circle. So, onto my strategy. There are several ways you can play the game, and it's all personal preference. It's how you feel comfortable. But I'm going to run you through my thought processes, which have led to a few wins here and there. I always pick somewhere really far away from the beginning of the flight path, and I try getting as far away from the plane as possible. And I will sometimes go for a scavenger contract straight away depending how juicy I'm feeling at the time. I loot all of the buildings in the immediate area to stock up on ammo, get a semi-decent gun, build up my cash, and get those armor plates rocking so that I'm not tickled by a pistol when I die. Watch out when dropping, as pricks will try pistol whipping you mid-air to get a cheap kill, and your armor will not regen from this point, so you'll drop into the game literally at the beginning with no armor. And another tip about flying, you can cut your parachute and redeploy it as many times as you need to make further areas. So you cut it for speed and deploy it for distance. Mix the 2 together and you are a god of the parachutes. But be careful because once you cut it for the first time, you have to manually redeploy it, if not you'll splat into the ground. Back on the ground, you've got an okay weapon, some armor plates and 10 grand. Drop absolutely everything and work your way to the nearest buy station for a loadout drop and get them silenced weapons running. I can't stress enough how important silenced weapons are. If you can get the monolithic suppressor on a gun, you are good to go. Now you're wanting to just play the circle. Always keep an eye out for scrubs that are trying to push behind you. Keep looting any buildings you can, and that's why everyone runs a heartbeat sensor. If there's a camper that's pitched up his sleeping bag in a building, then your sensor will point him out, and providing you don't potato really hard, you've got yourself an easy kill. One of the biggest things in all shooters in general, but also in Warzone, is your sensitivity. Don't be the big dick competition player and play on 25 when you can't even handle 10. I played the first few months of the game's release on 2 because I wasn't comfortable with any higher, and my kills started racking up because I lowered my sensitivity. I now play on 5 because I'm a big boy, and I don't think I'm going to push it much further. I feel incredibly comfortable playing on 5. Do not be ashamed of your gaming settings. It's your game, so play how you choose. Also, talking about big things in the game, delete the RPG please, it's annoying as fuck. You've got to load out some armor plates, try and grab some money for a UAV and then play the circle. Sit towards the edge of the circle, do not be too aggressive or too passive, find a good balance between the two and maybe grab yourself a recon contract to find some advanced positioning for the circle. Then it's just picking off enemies and hoping you're not sent to the gulag or even worse, back to the lobby. That's pretty much it for me and my Warzone for Dummies guide. If I have missed anything then please leave a comment and let me know. One thing before we go, gas masks, you can find them in crates or you can buy yourself one. Self-revive, you can buy 2 but I don't normally use them. I'm always thirsted with a self-revive kit so I don't waste my money on them because I could buy a UAV instead. And the gas mask is annoying because it's an automatic interaction, so if you're shooting at a team and you make it out of the gas, the game will remove your mask and force you to hip fire instead of being able to aim down your sights. And that's ended my game a few times now, so I'm not a big fan of them. Manual interaction would be nice. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.